All right. Welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, and we're back here on site in Jenny Jump State Park in Hope, New Jersey. Um, we are indoors because it is pouring rain outside and was a little too much for the outdoor equipment. As such, we will not be doing stargazing afterwards, just because it's just going to be very wet. So tonight, if you want, you can always check us out on our website, uacnj.org. That's where you're going to find a list of all of our member clubs, because we are a club made up of other clubs, all of our upcoming talks and presentations, and as well as our talks and presentations we've had in the past, which you can check out on our YouTube, because we do keep those saved there, in addition to live streaming those uh, here on YouTube and Twitch for those of you who are there. If you want a way to support us, because we are a nonprofit that is completely free, do do click those like, subscribe, and share buttons. It does actually help us greatly for getting the word out and growing our community. You can also check us out on our social media, our Facebook, Instagram, our Discord channel, all great ways to ask questions, post your astrophotography. We love to see those pictures. Uh, and with that, since our crowd's a little sparse, we're going to get right into that safety briefing. If you need to use the bathroom, that is the porta potty outside, illuminated by red. Yes, unfortunately, you have to go outside for that, but I can't bring a porta potty inside. That's just weird. um, when we go to leave, we are using our headlights because we don't like getting run over. We don't want to see anyone get run over. And quite frankly, it's just too much paperwork. I have to do enough paperwork in my day-to-day life. Let's avoid that. Uh, when we go to leave, it'll be dark. Any flashlights we're using, keep those pointed towards the ground, because we don't need to burn out people's retinas. Remember, once you lose one eye, you should not look directly at the sun with remaining eye. Um, I see someone in the crowd now being like, that joke was targeted at me. With that, we're going to get into tonight's talk, which is what's up in the May sky. I think I've been posting March. I'm sorry. I don't know what month it is, but it is the May sky, not the March sky. With Lonnie, because he is back after going to see the eclipse. So hopefully he'll give us all the sweet details on that. Lonnie has been presenting What's Up in the Sky at UACJ since it opened in 1994. An amateur astronomer since age 10, and holds 2 degrees from Stevens Institute of Technology in physics and computer science, but thinks practical experience and doing several things like space art, space animation, and virtual reality objects is just as important. Lonnie has written several books, which he will shamelessly plug later. You should go check those out because they're actually quite fun and interesting. I have. With that, the best thing he's ever done is marry his narrator, Jan Buinis, because quite honestly, she keeps him grounded and coming back here, and we love her. So, with that, here's Lonnie.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kim. This series would not be possible without the dedication of people like Kim and Chris behind the scenes doing the tech support, and the many other members of the UACNJ. We're going to talk about what's up in the sky that you might have seen if it weren't cloudy. So it's not what's up tonight, but what's up in general on a nice clear night in May. And I encourage you to go out and do that for yourselves. This is what's up. This is the sky simulated in a free program that I'll talk about later on the middle of May at 9 o'clock at night. And you can see the time down below. Welcome. We have some latecomers. Pick a seat. Every seat is good. They always tell you that in theaters. Every seat is perfect. And it's a lie. There are always better seats. But here, every seat at UACNJ is perfect. Welcome. I'm Lonnie. I'm your guide tonight to what you would have seen if nature were cooperating. And this is a simulation of the sky at 9 o'clock at night facing south, right from here, from UACNJ. And the principal thing you're going to look for at this time of the year is the backwards question mark and triangle. And that's where the quarter moon will be in the middle of the month on May 15th. A little bit of history first. In this month, in 1961, an astronaut, an American astronaut, became the first American in space aboard the Freedom 7, a tiny little capsule that was just barely big enough to hold one person. We had a past event last month, a total eclipse of the sun. I hope all of you got to see at least the partial eclipse with the sliver of sun. We had to travel, my wife and friends and I traveled to Watertown, New York to see the total phase of the eclipse because the moon's shadow makes a very narrow path, only about 100 miles wide. And you have to go where that shadow is to see the whole eclipse. We were next to the Watertown Daily Times when we were caught accidentally by a reporter, and that's our dog way down there on the right. I did not get good pictures of the total phase because it was cloudy there, although we could see the eclipse through the clouds, and it was an extraordinary, it was like a painting. It was orangey from the reflected street lights that came on because of the dark, bouncing against the clouds, with the blue shadow of the moon coming at you. I took 3 shots and stuck them together in a panorama here. You can see the shadow racing across the sky at 1,500 miles an hour. That's like twice the speed of sound, more than twice the speed of sound, and covered us, passed right over in 3.5 minutes, and the whole thing was over after preparing for this thing for a year. This is what you would have seen if it were completely dark, which it was not at Watertown because of the hazy cloud layer. You could have seen the planets Venus and Jupiter easily. There were other planets visible, Mercury, Saturn, Mars, if you knew exactly where to look. They were kind of faint. And it was, and also a comet, one of the close comets passing near the sun at the time with a very complicated name, Pons Brooks. And if you had looked in binoculars at that time, right during the day, during the eclipse, you could have seen the moons of Jupiter, some of them, near the planet Uranus. All these things magically appear when the sky is darkened by a total eclipse because the moon covers the sun exactly. But that's a past event. We're here to talk about what's up for May coming up. So in just a few days, we have a minor meteor shower, the Eta Aquariids, or Aquarid. You can say it either way. I get my list of events from go-astronomy.com. It's free website, and they have something for every month. Eta, Greek letter in the Greek alphabet, Eta Aquariids, named for the constellation where you seem to see the meteors streaking out from a point in all directions. That's called the radiant point, and it's near Aquarius, the water carrier. You know the constellation, zodiac sign, right? Aquarius. Anybody here an Aquarius? Oh, way in the back. Oh, cool. Okay. I am I'm supposed to be a Capricornus, the sea goat, the old goat. That's what my wife can call me sometimes. But the sun was not in there when I was born. And that's because astrology is off by one whole sign. So the Aquariids, you can see them anytime from late April to late May, but there's a peak. It's kind of a bell curve. It gets better and better, and then it peaks on the night of May 6th. So what you want to do is, assuming that it's a dark sky, if you have to go to bed early, go out anyway before midnight. Midnight's the best time because you're looking right down the shadow of the Earth into space. And lean back and use your eyes to look everywhere. You don't need equipment, don't need binoculars, don't need a telescope. These are fast-moving meteors. The zenithal hourly rate, that's how many you might see streaking by, bright ones, dim ones, right at the top of the sky per hour. 55, I say ha, because where we live, I live in Bergen County, there's street lights, right? Light pollution. So you're not going to see that. You might be lucky to see one bright meteor the entire hour. So the principal equipment that you need, eyes, the main thing you need, patience. And a comfortable lawn chair, number 3, would be good, helpful. These are remnants of Halley's Comet. Meteor showers are when the Earth enters the orbit of a comet and we hit the debris, all the dust and stuff left over. So how big do you think these things are as zooming through the atmosphere, getting burned up? Boulder size? No? Boulder? Golf ball sized. No? Pea? Actually, they're about the size of a sand grain, most of them. Yeah, they come into the atmosphere so fast, 5 miles is the whole atmosphere. The thickest part of our atmosphere, troposphere, 5 miles. If they're coming in an angle, it can be 100 miles, but it goes through in a matter of seconds. So 8 Aquariids, it's a kind of a minor shower. The big ones are August and December. I'll be talking about those. So you want to come back for what's up in the audience participation is not punished. What's up in the August sky for the Perseids? Mercury, you want to see the innermost planet nearest to the sun, the major planet. Mercury, May 9th, next week. Greatest elongation away from the sun in angle, we measure it by angle, west, W, west. Now what does that mean in the sky? Where are we going to look for it? Well, if you look to the south, at Jenny Jump, that's that way. South, if you're facing south, where does the sun set? What direction? West, thank you. She's not shy. So no need to be shy. Shout out your answers if you have them. West is on your right. So if something's elongated to the west, you want to look for it if it's near the sun in the morning. The sun's in the east, look to the west, right of the sun, right, facing south. And there it is. See it? Look, there's Mercury. At 5 in the morning on May 5th, 5 in the morning, simulation in Stellarium, free program. Mercury is very close to the horizon. So if you, as I do, live with houses, big houses, we start out with small ones and they were all torn down and replaced by big giant ones, and trees, it's going to be hard to find Mercury. What would it look like if you could see it? Well, it would have a phase like the moon, right? It would have sort of almost a quarter, thick crescent, almost like a quarter moon. And in many ways, Mercury is similar to the moon with lots of craters. How about the moon this month? Always, every month, there are 2 important phases for observing in the sky. One of them is terrible and the other one is great. Right? I'm using the scientific terminology. Terrible and great. So new moon is great, May 8th. Why? And why is the full moon not so great? The flower moon, May 23rd. If you go to moongiant.com, absolutely free, one of my favorite websites, you can get the current phase, you can print a calendar, you can look at just the full moons, lots of stuff you can do. This is what the moon looks like tonight where there are no clouds. That's what it might look like if you had a radio telescope that could penetrate clouds. So we've got a pretty big telescope under construction out here with a mirror, I believe it's 24, 25, 40. Oh, that one. Ooh, wow, 44 feet. That's a giant mirror. So can you see? You can see, right? If you have a big enough mirror collecting a lot of light, you can see right through those clouds, right? Nope. Nobody challenged me on that. Very shy audience. I want to confide in you that I am a shy person. I grew up very shy. But as the poet Andrei Kodrescu once said, people are like onions. As you grow layers and layers, right? So, but if you're a basically shy person, right there in the middle of the onion, there's still some shyness. So if you, like me, are shy, don't worry about it. Right? There are no wrong answers here. Feel free to participate. So we have a crescent moon tonight. And what does that mean? Over the next few nights, the moon is waning. Waning. What's waning? Waning. Dimmer, right? Diminishing. Getting smaller and smaller, moving towards new. So go out another night. Go out on a night that's clear. Might be a few days from now, might be tomorrow, but you're not going to learn anything if you don't go outside and look at the real thing. I like the moon calendar, the phase calendar, because you can see all the main phases. I highlighted them by just clicking on major phases here. See that last quarter moon? You want to see detail on the moon? You want to see it when the light comes in at an angle, raking across the mountains so you could see beautiful shadows, light and dark. Great time to do it is the quarter phases, last and first. Last, you have to do it in the morning, right? As the sun rises, look south. You wait till the 15th of the middle of this month. Great time to see lunar detail. It's when we're awake, right? So dinner time, the sun sets, look in the south, first quarter moon. You might see in binoculars or a telescope, you might see little white dots right at the terminator on the dark side of the moon, right where light changes to dark. Little white dots. Looks like city lights. Are they city lights? No, because we haven't been to the moon since 1970. We're going back, but we're not going to build any cities right away. Those are mountaintops catching the sunlight, the rising sun on the moon. Takes 29 and a half days to do one cycle. For us, it's 24 hours. On the moon, it's 29 and a half days. Absolutely great time, woohoo, to see faint objects when the moon is new in the daytime. It's near the sun, so we don't see it. So its light doesn't get in the way at night. Where is the new moon in the sky? If it's near the sun, well, why don't we have an eclipse every new moon? As the moon goes around the Earth, it's going to be near the sun every 29 and a half days, right? So why don't we have another eclipse like we had last month? Ideas? It's got to line up, right? The moon's the same size as the sun, the same apparent size, right? The moon's 400 times smaller than the sun, but it's 400 times closer to us. Amazing coincidence. So the moon's orbit is actually tipped to the Earth, about 5 degrees, so it misses. But the whole orbit shifts around. The whole orbit precesses, and that's why sometimes the two line up. So there's your major phases. Full moon, that's scientific terminology for observing. The full moon is, sorry, audience at home. Oh, and wait, what's this? Another last quarter. How come we have two of the same phase in 1 month? 29 and what's 365 divided by 12? Quick. No? Nobody can add really. It's about 30, right? Around more than 30 days. Right. I agree. It's more than 30 days for a month calendar, but the moon phases fit in. Sometimes you get 2 full moons in a month, and that's called a blue moon, once in a blue moon, which is not that rare. Once in a while, there's a gigantic volcanic explosion like Krakatoa in the 19th century. The dust in the atmosphere turns the moon the color blue. That's a real blue moon. But 2 full moons in 1 month is called a blue moon. The full moon has beautiful names every month. The Boy Scouts use this manual for many decades. Green grass moon, the root food moon. But if you like the Farmer's Almanac, it's the flower moon. Why? April, showers, bring. There you go. And that's why I've got a picture of the moon with flowers that doesn't belong to me, that I stole, and I didn't give the person credit. I try to. Other names: milk moon, corn planting moon, grass moon, mother's moon. Very poetic. Check them out. Look on Wikipedia every month. They have beautiful names for the moon, and sometimes they tell you the origin. We're going to take a look at the sky that you would have seen tonight with a free program called Stellarium that is free to download and install, free to go on their website and use their supercomputers if you don't want to install anything, free to use on any mobile device. And I will be talking about that later. Let's first check out Stellarium. And I'm also going to talk about Celestia later, which lets you fly through space to see other planets up close. Stellarium went from version 0.14 recently to version 23. Don't ask me. It makes no sense. How do programmers think? Do programmers think? Do they think about us ordinary folks? What we like? Do they think about things that make sense? I don't know. So here's a clear sky if there were no clouds. Why don't we see stars? Because it's summer, right? It's almost summer, right? So the days are getting longer and longer. It takes longer at night for the sun to get down, for all the light to disappear. So what we need to do is go into the future. And we can do that here. We can pick a time. Instead of 8:20 and 41 seconds, we can make it 9:20. 21. 21 minus 12 is very shy audience. 9, yes. You know, audience participation again, not discouraged. Just feel free to shout out. I brought a friend from my neighborhood, and I encourage him to use just heckle. So here's Stellarium. You can set date and time. There's a lot you can do with the menu. You can move around. You can make it look like the planisphere that we sell here in our gift shop. Cheap, shameless advertisement. Kim will assist you later, or someone will show you. Planisphere is a circular star chart, and it has outlines, so it makes it easier to see constellations. But it can't. It can do any time of day or night, but it can't zoom in like this to show you how big some of these constellations really are. Like the Great Ursa Bear, Great Bear, Ursa Major. This is not a constellation. What is this? Big Dipper. It's an asterism. Did you know that? It's not an official constellation. If you're a piano player, you probably know how many constellations there are. It's the same as the number of keys on a piano. So, oh, are you a piano player? Oh, fantastic. We have a piano player in the audience who knew that there are 88 keys, 88 constellations recognized in 1930 by the International Astronomical Union. And another myth is that there are 7 stars in the Big Dipper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, there's only 7, right? Look at the bend in the handle. Aha. If you have sharp eyesight, if you're not ancient like me, as my wife will tell you, I was born in the Jurassic period when dinosaurs roamed the earth. This is Alcor, which is about 82 light years away from us. Mizar, the bright one, is about 78 light years away. It's an accidental alignment. One's in front of the other. So, yes. Oh. I'm. Yeah, this Stellarium does show you where. I don't know. For some reason, I'm missing it. Is it left, right? Where? I don't. Yeah, bottom. why? Why can't? Why can't I? It's not. Oh. That is Global Star MO14. Memorize that. Global Star MO14. There'll be a test. No, actually, Starlinks are faster and brighter because they're closer to the Earth. Some of these things are further out. Yeah, a stellarium does show you where the satellites are, and there's a lot of them. Yeah, you can simulate meteor showers too. So if you want to get oriented to the sky, which is why we're here tonight, a good thing to do is start in the north. So go out at home and look for the red letter N, right? And you can turn those off in Stellarium. You can show more. You can show northeast. You can show west, northwest. And then use the Big Dipper to find other things. Like the pointer stars go 5 times their angle apart, 5 degrees. Hold your fist up at arm's length. That's about 5 degrees. And go 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll just miss the North Star, Polaris, in the Little Dipper, Little Bear, Ursa Minor. It looks just like a bear holding Michael. You know, the resemblance is striking. Look at that. Bear. How about this one? Dragon, Draco. Currently the longest constellation. It used to be the Scorpion, but the Scorpion's claws got cut off to make Libra the scales. Zodiac signs. So that's 3 constellations that never rise or set. The other two are very low this time of the year. The W or M, depending on what time of year it is, when it's up there, it's an M. This is the Queen, Cassiopeia, and her husband, the King, Cepheus, are upside down. These are circumpolar constellations. They circum the pole, circum around. They go around the pole. They never rise or set. They're up all the time. How come we don't see them all the time? Yeah, we see them only at night. The only shy person who's not shy in the audience is Al, my friend. Thank you, Al. The rest of you, please take his example, and we need some heckling, we need some comments, and we need questions. And you can save them for later if you like. I know my friend Ken is good at heckling and questions. So, you can think on that. So I'm going to wend my way over. Once I know my way around, I know the directions. I know where north is. Over here at Jenny Jump, south is the other way. Turn around, and before you face south, stop at the west and look at the signs of winter disappearing. Two people who look alike. Gemini is the way I learned to say it. My friend corrected me tonight. The original pronunciation was Gemini. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we don't say right. For instance, the element, the light metal that's used to make aircraft, everywhere in the world it's pronounced aluminium. There's only one country that pronounces it aluminum, and that is, yes, us. Yeah, aluminum. I thought, I didn't learn that until earlier this year. I've been around for 71 years, and I finally learned that the correct way to say it is aluminium. So Gemini, or Gemini, Orion's disappearing. Jupiter's already disappeared, the planet. But we can see other signs of the zodiac if we make our way from west to south. Across, going from right to left, we can find where the planets and the sun and the moon all line up. Why? Because the solar system, to use the technical term, the astronomers say the solar system is flat. I'm using a lot of technical terms tonight. Feel free to ask questions or have me repeat them. Flat, yes, the solar system, except for Mercury and Pluto and most of the trans-Neptunian objects and some of the asteroids and all the comets and the entire Oort cloud is flat. In other words, the major planets are pretty much in a plane with the Earth. So everything lines up. Cancer the crab, Leo the lion, Virgo, and finally Libra, going into the summer constellations. The thing that I'm going to ask you to remember, if you forget everything else that I mentioned tonight, is that each season of the year, winter, spring, summer, fall, there's one main constellation that you want to look for around 9 o'clock at night due south. And this time of the year, it's the backwards question mark and the triangle. And even without the lines, it's not too hard to recognize in the sky if the sky is even moderately clear. If there's haze, it cuts out a lot of these fainter stars. And then you might imagine what our ancestors did. Leo the lion. Stars have color. Did you know stars have colors? You can see them with the unaided eye. This one's a little bit hard to see, especially in stellarium. The colors are not very vivid. It's an orangish star as opposed to Regulus, the bluish star. Alpha Leonis. Astronomers like to abbreviate stuff, so every constellation has a 3-letter abbreviation. I think this is the only constellation that's abbreviation is the same as its real name, Leo. How about that? Just realize that. And the brighter stars are designated by the Greek letters, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, etc., all the way to omega. So the brightest star is Alpha, second brightest beta. So another name for Regulus is Alpha Leonis. The Arabic astronomers kept these bright star names alive during the Dark Ages. We still use their names for the brighter stars, like the armpit of the giant, Orion. As a kid, they told me that it was his elbow, his shoulder. I looked it up. It's a literal translation of Beetlejuice is armpit. Yep, and you can say it different ways. Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. Leo You can find Leo if you're really disoriented. Face south and tip your head backwards as far as you can. And look for the Big Dipper upside down. Take the pointer stars that help you find north. They point to Leo in the other direction. So we're doing a technique that we amateur astronomers here at Jenny Jump like to call star hopping. Star hopping. You'll find that amateur astronomers know even more about finding stuff than professional astronomers. Professional astronomers are very, very focused in very narrow areas of interest. But the amateurs here know a lot about faint objects, deep sky objects like clouds called nebulas, star clusters. You can ask them a lot of questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Believe me, I've asked a lot of stupid questions. That's how I learned. And after a while, if you keep asking stupid questions, you're going to learn the answers. It's not going to be stupid anymore. Ask questions. If it were winter, I could actually
The
bring up Orion.
So the
But
question for those people online is whether if whether looking whether you view what is it, Beetlejuice as the shoulder or the armpit, as whether you're looking at it by a dude holding a club or by a dude holding a bow and arrow.
yeah, actually, it depends on how you depict it. This, to me, doesn't look like the skin of an animal. Yeah, maybe a shield, and this maybe he's holding a. Actually, I've seen it drawn that way, where this he's holding not a club but an animal skin, and this is either a sword or a shield. So, yep, you can interpret things any way you like. I was teaching a bunch of 6-year-olds in the planetarium, and they said that Arcturus and Boötes, the herdsman, look like a rocket ship with an orange flame. So why not? There you go. Let's go back to a dark sky again. Orion is setting. This time of year, in the spring, if you come visit us on a nice clear night, ask the amateur astronomers to show you a galaxy, not our own Milky Way, which is very low in the sky this time of year. Our Milky Way interferes with seeing beyond it. It has gas and dust. We can't see through that except with infrared radiation, which is what the new James Webb Space Telescope uses. It can see through a lot of dust clouds that we never saw through before, like the Horsehead Nebula. There's a beautiful image of this that you paid for. Our tax dollars paid for James Webb. So go look at the Horsehead Nebula, seeing right through the dark dust that makes the Horsehead. Very cool. Well, infrared, you don't need infrared light to see other galaxies. You can just look away from the Milky Way, perpendicular. The Milky Way is flat, like the solar system. Look in the perpendicular direction, straight up. This time of year is the best time to see other galaxies near the Dipper, near little constellations called Coma Berenices and Canes Venatici. Coma Berenices, coma, like comet, means hare. The hare of Bernice. Canes Venatici, the hunting dogs. Canes, dogs. Venatici, hunting. And in this area, we're looking at the best place to look for distant galaxies because the dust in our own galaxy is not interfering so much. Let's zoom way in, see if we can find a galaxy. This is what our Milky Way looks like from edge on. There's another one, spiral galaxy. Dust. What's that dark stuff? Dust. What's all the bright stuff? Gas lit up. Different colors. Blue, young hot blue stars lighted up blue, and the red is coming from hydrogen gas that's glowing with its own reddish color. Can we see these colors with the human eye? Not really. When you look in a telescope, everything kind of looks greenish because the human eye is not sensitive to color at low light levels. There are other galaxies in this area. There are galaxy clusters. There's a star cluster. There are galaxies that are more open, the way our galaxy might look tipped at an angle with spiral arms. Why are they called spiral arms? Because they seem to spiral around the center of the galaxy. So ask our astronomers to help you find galaxies, because this is a great time of year to do it. Not tonight, right? We lucked out with weather. But on a nice clear night, come on back. We're open every Saturday night. Not in the cold months, right? Only April through October, but we do talks like this every month. Some of them are virtual. Another thing you can use the Big Dipper to find by using the handle of the Big Dipper that makes an arc to the star, arc to Arcturus, arc to Arcturus, orangey colored star. In the real sky, it's beautiful, has a kind of a orangey hue to it. And then speed, arc to Arcturus, speed to Spica, the spike of wheat held by Virgo. First sign of spring, when you see that star rising, time to plant the wheat. Virgo is a big constellation. And to me, it doesn't really look like a woman, but, use your imaginations. Our ancestors had imaginations, and they had an advantage over us. No light pollution, just fire, right? Fire, light. But we have had electric lights for over a century, and that makes it a little harder to see things in the sky. I mentioned that there are minor constellations also. If you look down below Leo, we see a very long one. Oh, you can also bring up names. If you like to cheat, this is Hydra, the sea serpent. Crater, the goblet. And Corvus looks just exactly like a ideas? Parallelogram?
Crow?
A crow. You saw the picture. Yeah, Corvus the crow. Very good guess. I'm going to tell you know what? I'm going to make it harder. I'm taking the names off. So that constitutes a quick tour of the current sky. If you look over towards the east, you'll see stars rising, just like the sun and moon. Everything rises in the east, sets in the west. Why is that? The sky is moving around us, right? Yeah, it seems to be moving. I want to thank this woman. Thank you very. What's your name? Jill. Jill's been very bold. She's helping tonight. It's a sparse audience, but people at home appreciate that. Jill, thank you. So, how do you really get started learning stuff like this? You get a star map. Go out on a nice clear night. Use the star map. Get oriented. Use star hopping like we did with the Big Dipper to Leo down, or down in the north to the North Star, down in the south to Leo. Star hopping, very convenient technique. Some of the cool deep sky objects coming up in the later spring, later at night, or later on in the month or next month, these will be even higher. Let's show you what happens month to month. May at 21:38. Let's set to it an exact time, shall we? 9 o'clock at night. Convenient. Everybody still up? May. June. Whoa, what happened? May. June. Yeah, it's still pretty light. Let's go later. 10 o'clock at night. May. June. But look, you see what happened to constellations? Every month they're 30 degrees away. 30 times 12 is 360, like the number of days in a year, 365. It's pretty close. So roughly, we're looking at a different part of the sky, 30 degrees shifted every month. That's why I do What's Up in the Sky every month. We have a slightly different sky. If you stay up late enough in May, let's go to May 15th. See how light it's getting? Even 10 o'clock at night, there's some haze. You're going to find a place where there is an exploding star, a nova, next to Hercules, the hero. Hercules, the hero, which also has a fuzzy blob, famous fuzzy blob. M13. In binoculars, it looks like a little cloud. In a small telescope, you can see that it has some stars in it. In giant telescopes, 500,000 stars in a globe, all clustered together. Astronomers therefore call it it's a star cluster, and the type is a globular star cluster. This is the most famous, visible in the northern hemisphere from New Jersey, M13. There's a bigger one in the Centaur, but we don't see the constellation Centaur. It's below our horizon. Omega Centauri is even bigger. There are Thousands of these things circling the Milky Way in all different directions. They are the oldest structures in the galaxy, globular clusters. If you lived on a planet circling one of these stars, your night sky would be streetlights. We're thankful we're living out here in the boons, in the suburbs, so we can see, we can learn about the sky. Right here, sometime between now and September, right next to Epsilon Corona Borealis. Corona Borealis, the crown that Hercules in one of his labors had to rescue. There's a star right here. Right here. Let's turn off the skylight. I'll show you which one it is. Skylight. Gone. Oh, and one more thing. I have to turn off magnitude limit. Right in here. Right. Whoop, right there. Nope, sorry. Wait, it's not showing up. Or am I looking at the right one? Right in there is a star called T, Corona Borealis. T. The person who discovered it thought it was a terrific discovery that this thing got super bright. So the T stands for terrific, right? Wrong. I'm just making that up. But you will find an exploding star that goes from completely invisible, except in medium-sized telescopes, to visible to the naked eye. And it's going to become about as bright as Alpha Corona Borealis, the brightest star in Corona, Alpheca. It'll be visible to the naked eye. It'll be down here, and it will disfigure the crown to an extra star. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There'll be an 8th star in Corona Borealis. That is correct. Let's see. There is a way. Oh yeah, if you line up the stars in the handle of the Big Dipper and go straight down. Yep, right there. But it'll be, if it goes up to magnitude 2 from 10, up every 5 magnitudes is 100 times brighter. So this is thousands of times brighter. You'll see it to the unaided eye. This is an exploding star, and I'm going to explain how that works in just a moment, because I'm going to flip right back to my presentation to wrap things up, because we need time for questions. New discovery in the news. We have a mini moon, a quasi-moon, not a real moon. Compared to Earth, it seems to do this weird looping arc where it's closer to the sun half the time and further away half the time. What is it? It's a little asteroid. It's small. It might be something that blew off of the moon. It's very similar to the Earth's orbit. Earth's orbit is 1 astronomical unit, the distance from Earth to sun on average. Eccentricity, it's pretty eccentric, takes a little over a year to do this. Don't be afraid of it colliding with the Earth. Its closest distance, minimum orbital distance to Earth, is 12 times the distance to the moon, which is 250,000 miles. 1/4 times 12 is, audience, 3 million miles. That's a lot. It's a lot of miles. Earth is only 8,000 miles in size. This thing is small. About 137 feet is the best estimate, but we're not sure. It's a range. And it is not very bright. 1 would be bright. 90% would be bright. And it spins around in 28 minutes. And here's what it's really doing. You ready? This is cool. These free animations are out there on the web. You can find them, or on YouTube. That is the orbit of 2016 HO3. What a great name. So easy to remember. So that's our mini moon, leapfrogging with the Earth. There's a lot of cool astronomy animations out there nowadays. Not hard to find. And it's been doing this for a while. It probably will do this for a few more thousand years before it breaks its resonance with the sun and the Earth. Stable for almost a century. That's it. Don't ask me where they get their ideas. We think that that little piece that broke off the moon might be from the youngest crater on the moon. It's on the other side, just over the limb. We can't see it from Earth. It's named after Giordano Bruno, who, 400 years ago said there are an infinity of worlds like ours amongst an infinity of suns. And he was burned at the stake for having radical ideas, but he was right, because the Kepler Space Probe and others have shown us that the number of planets in our Milky Way alone, the number of planets that could be habitable by human beings, numbers about 10 billion or more. An infinity of worlds. Very young crater with sharp edges. How do we know this? The spectrum of light coming from 2016 HO3, identical to the spectrum of rocks from the moon. How do you get started? Binoculars, great way to do it. Why? Because you can use binoculars for everything. You could spy on your neighbors if you get bored. You can look at birds. You can use it for astronomy. The price of giant binoculars has come down to half of what they used to be. Still a little expensive for if you're beginning in a hobby, which is why, excuse me, why we recommend something like a first scope from Celestron. The price on this has come down recently from $80 to about 67. So the prices are very affordable. Simpler mount. It does not gather a lot of light. There's smaller optics. 70 millimeters, there's 25.4 millimeters to the inch. So this is like around 3 inches for 75 millimeters. 3 inches or so. That's good enough to see planets, star clusters, double stars, right? Very nice optics. Celestron is only one of many manufacturers. If you want more light, Dobson is the guy who invented the Dobsonian, made it as cheap as possible. It's a lot more expensive, some of them, but you get so much more light you can see fainter objects like galaxies. And that's a very economical design. Tilt and left-right, alt-azimuth, altitude azimuth. Now, for more sophisticated mounts and telescopes, these are much more expensive, catadioptric. I was interested to see that there's so many different kinds. For instance, a Cassegrain, classic Cassegrain, uses not a spherical mirror, but a special figure, a parabola in cross-section that brings light from infinity into a single focus with a correction lens, a correction mirror, hyperbolic, holy mackerel. Maksutov, the kind I have, is a very simple spherical mirror, is much easier to make. And a negative lens, there's also a combination, Maksutov Cassegrain, there's a Gregory, and there's Ritchie Chrétien, which is an example of this is the big 24-inch at Sperry Observatory at Union County College. You're welcome to visit there. That was my first astronomy club when I was 14 years old. I have a Maksutov Cassegrain, a small one, about 3.5-inch mirror that I took to the eclipse in Watertown. And with my filter, it was so dark I could not get a good picture of the sun because the clouds got in the way. But I'm not sad at all. It was a wonderful experience. Some references for you to take home. UACNIDGE. Repeat after me. UACNIDGE. I don't hear everybody. UACNIDGE. Thank you. That's United Astronomy Clubs. We are an umbrella organization for many clubs, planetariums, observing clubs in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, mostly New Jersey. Sky and Telescope and Astronomy are magazines in print. They have great subscription websites, but a lot of the stuff is free. And if you forget everything I've said tonight, what are you going to remember? You're going to remember Leo the lion in spring, right? You can look for the scorpion in summer. You can look for Pegasus, the flying horse, in the fall. You can look for Orion, the hunter, in winter. Don't forget Leo. And please don't forget space.com. I don't work for any of these people. I am not a representative, but space.com, you got to admit, pretty easy to remember. Apps. So many free apps. So many. I sound like Trump. So many free apps. They're great. So many. Best stargazing app, space.com. There's dozens. Dozens. They're all free. Stellarium is one of them. Celestia is another. Again, I mentioned earlier that you can download it, install it. You can run it on the website. You can put it on your cell phone for free. Celestia lets you fly to other objects. You could see what Saturn looks like from its moons. There's only 2 places in the solar system where you can see the rings of Saturn open on solid ground. Iapetus is one of the moons. Every 79 days, the rings go from this to this to this in a cycle. And there's only one other place where Saturn does that. Where is it? Earth. Who said that? Quick review. What are you going to look for? Meteors in several days. New moon. Go out. Look for galaxies. Look for faint nebulae. May 8th. Mercury. That's going to be tough. Flower moon. Terrible time to see anything except planets and bright star clusters. And what about T Corona Borealis? The blaze star. This is a giant star. Its material is being sucked into a white dwarf the size of a planet. The weight of a star in 8,000 miles. Tiny star, super heavy. Every once in a while, stuff blows off the red giant. Magnitude 10 is extremely faint. Magnitude 2.5, it may even be 2, magnitude 2, bright enough to see. This guy found it in 1866. He thought it was terrific. He said, T for terrific, Corona Borealis. We know that this is going to happen because similar brightenings and dimmings happened in 1946. Same pattern exactly. We saw it brighten 8 years ago, just like 46, before 1946. We saw it dim. It's dimming right now, coming back up. We know it's going to blow up. Stuff is going to hide the dwarf star. That's why it dims. When it blows up and gives off X-rays and bright rays, it brightens to visible sometime between now and September. And it's the only one of 10 recurring novae that's visible to the naked eye. There it is. We saw, there's the red circle. Go outside tonight, tomorrow night when it's clear. Look for the red circle next to Corona, right? Thank you. This is where you can find me. astronomyinmotion.com has free virtual reality planets you can play with. If you'd like to buy my Mars model, there's a 4K version and a free HD. You've been a terrific audience. Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you, everyone who's come out. So, we do have a question and answer session, but because some people were being sneaky and snuck in after the safety briefing, gonna go over that briefly. If you need to use the bathroom, that is the porta potty outside. It's illuminated by red. When we are leaving, we are using our headlights. It is raining. Let's be careful that we're not accidentally an entire volunteer. When we go outside, it's also dark. Any flashlights we might use, do please keep them pointed towards the ground, because I enjoy having eyeballs, and you probably also feel the same way. With that, how question and answer section is going to work. You're going to raise, for the people here, you're going to raise your hand. For the people online, just type it in chat like you have been. And I'm going to start us off with a comment that actually came in halfway through, because you put out a challenge that you heard him, guys. We need those tough questions that will stump him and make him do homework.
Yes.
He actually enjoys doing homework, so do please give him the questions that will make him do research. Getting into the first real online question is, can you capture meteorites in astrophotography?
Oh, boy, that's interesting, because the way, Kim, you said that, can you capture meteorites, period, that would be tough. But in astrophotography, yeah, I've seen this. Very often people accidentally catch a meteor streaking across a scene where they had intended to photograph something else. So yes, you can.
Right. Was there a question out here? Bueller? I don't even hear the crickets from outside. I do hear the server humming, though. So, electronic crickets.
Mm-hmm.
Our next online question. Are there any good objects you should share with your mom for Mother's Day?
Oh, there's a beautiful picture that one of our amateurs took of the Rosette Nebula. On your way out, members of the audience live here, look on the right as you go out. There's a rose-colored and rose-looking nebula, gas cloud where stars are forming. It's called the Rosette. That's one of my favorites. That'd be a great for Mother's Day. And that's visible in the winter, unfortunately, by Monoceros the unicorn.
Also, look up, if you happen to know your mother's favorite animal, there's a surprising number of objects named after animals and whatnot. if you forgot to go to the jeweler and get your wife of your children a gift, there's the Ring Nebula. So there's many options. Question? Perfect.
Is there a cat constellation?
Is there a cat?
Yes.
Well, Leo is the other than Leo.
I think there's the leopard.
In
Or
other,
no, that's camelopardus. That's a giraffe.
In other, that's a very good question. In other cultures, there might be. Stellarium, let me show you. Stellarium lets you use other cultures. Oops. Oh, did I?
I don't know
shut it
about
down?
constellation, but there is the Cheshire Cat nebula where that looks cool. It's like a big purple smiley face, like the cat disappearing from that
Egyptian-
Disney
oh,
cartoon.
The Egyptians worshipped cats, didn't they? Let's try that. Egyptian Dendera. Well, that's what I have to turn this on. So, do we find any cats? That would have been a good guess. Yeah, I challenge you to try this at home. You have to go in Stellarium, go to Sky Culture from the viewing, Sky and viewing options. It's this icon here with all the little bubble, and then Sky Culture, and look at all the different things you can do. Native Americans, Japanese, even modern. You could do H.A. Rey from his book, The Stars, A New Way to See Them. But I love that you can do alternate. I think you could even do your own and load it into the program. So I don't find any other cats. Offhand, I would say no, but thank you. I'm going to research that. One person asked, is there a South Star? And I didn't know, but I found out since then that Sigma Octans is the South Star currently. That was a good question.
Yeah, I remember that question because you were talking about how as the Earth's axis wobbles, we'll get a new North Star.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we don't really have a South Pole star that's consistently, like you point at it, that's north.
Right.
Where it's up south because opposite. And they had asked what that might end up being. Also, if you're like me and impatient, chances are Wikipedia has a lovely chart of listing all the types of constellations. Like I said, I do know there's the Cheshire Cat nebula. You could probably pull that up there, Lonnie.
The Cheshire Cat Nebula. Wow.
I think, is it a nebula or is it a... I know Walt, who gave our presentation last weekend, usually does it for his Halloween talk.
I don't know. Look up error. Maybe not. It might not be in there. Well, how about cat? Cat's. Oh, there is a Cat's Eye Nebula. Yeah, the Cat's Eye Galaxy. Ooh. Cat's Paw
I don't know
Nebula.
how I forgot about Cat's Eye.
That is the Cat's Eye Galaxy. There's also a Black Eye Galaxy. Interesting. Yeah, you can search on things too.
All right.
Good
So our
questions.
next online question is, would the extended day cycle on the moon pose problems for human circadian rhythms during extended stays?
Yeah, we'd have to adapt. What we'd probably do on the moon is live under artificial conditions with a regulated artificial light cycle. But if you went by sunlight on the moon, that could really disturb things, being that it's 29 and a half days. The moon actually goes around the Earth in 27 and a third days, but because we see it from Earth, the phases take longer because the moon and Earth both are moving around the sun. The sun's position changes, therefore.
Chances are, I would imagine, people who, since we do have people who are adapted to live down in Antarctica or up north towards the northern Arctic Circle, where they have those really long day and night cycles, it's possible to adapt. Well, a little bit. Certain people. Any questions here? All right. So our next online question: is there a special name for two new moons in a month?
Ooh,
Nope, that's full moon.
yeah, two
They're
new
looking for
moons in a
new moon.
That's interesting. I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. I'll look it up. I should make up an answer. Yes, it's called the effervescent moon. No, I really don't know, but I'll find out.
Moon, now with carbonation.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to put out a last call for any questions online, just because I do know I'm getting close to the end of those. Wow, that's bright. Uh,
Sorry.
no, it's just I'm looking directly into the projector and it just caught my eyeball at
Ooh.
just the right. I'm like, oh, okay. Um, question? All right. So, uh, our next one is there any online observatory that you like to watch?
Oh, online observatory. Hmm. Not anyone in particular. Every once in a while I'll see something that's oh, Hamptons. Hamptons Observatory has interesting talks, but none that I like to watch. No. No, I like coming here.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to come here and not only do talks, but then go outside and
You know,
actually have the experience of watching the
and
stars.
also meet people in person and actually have bold people like Jill in the audience. So I hope more of you will follow Jill's example.
Yeah, we do multiple talks online. A lot of I know there's a number of observatories and whatnot who are starting to get into, especially after uh, the plague ran through, uh,
Mm.
that they're doing a lot of presentations online. That's actually why we started get live streaming these presentations through Twitch and YouTube, just so people would have a chance to interact, which is why if you ever can't make it here or whatnot, a good option is always hit us up online, say hi in chat, because I enjoy actually interacting with people there. Um, a comment that I had actually made online was you get started by finding someone who knows what things are and then bug them repeatedly until they buy you the star map or the app to help, like I have done my now fiance.
That works.
Hey, it
Persistence. That's what you need. Persistence. Don't be discouraged by the weather today. You can do this. You use your naked eyes that you were born with to enjoy the sky anytime it's clear. I've been going out every night seeing haze, clouds. I'm trying to use my telescope more for the first time in 9 years since my wife got it for me. It was collecting dust forever. Now I finally go out there, and every time I try to use it, it's hazy.
all right. So it looks like that is the end of our online question. So I want to thank you all who have joined us here. Thank you all online. Thank you, Lonnie, for another talk. Do hit those like and subscribe buttons on our YouTube and Twitch because yay. And for everyone here, we do have a little museum and gift shop area. You can peruse that. I'll be manning that desk. For online peeps, since you can't be here at the museum and gift shop area, you can actually check out our fourth wall shop. It's I'll put a link in chat because I don't remember the URL off the top of my head. All right, with that, have a good night, everyone. Better skies and better seeing.
Thanks.